Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day. Whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or even the latest buzz, look, we're diving deep and we're keeping it real. So do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. My friends, as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for tuning in to yet another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. Um, Wow, what do we have on tap for you within this hour? All right, so on today's conversations, we're going to be talking about the economy comparisons between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. We're also going to be discussing a crazy story that happened recently to a family um, getting ready to send their loved one, up to glory, and they realize, wait a minute, that's the wrong body in the casket. I mean, are you kidding me? The wrong body in the casket. So we will be discussing that crazy story. Also, comedian and actor Tony Rock recently was on a podcast sharing, talking about his frustration with his older brother not ever casting him or putting him on one of his films, or at least giving him a role in his film. So we'll talk a little more on that. Also, Martin Lawrence Martin Lawrence is seeking yet another sequel, maybe in the works, and also talk a little sports about Bronny James, the son of LeBron James. That guy. And let's see what else do we have on tap. That's what we have on store for you. Excuse me, on store for you today. Um, Remember, the Arrington Gavin Show drops weeknights at 11 p.m. on our radio affiliate WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk, as well as out of Dallas, Georgia, as well as on the streaming platforms of YouTube and Rumble. So multiple ways you can tune in. You can also listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's iHeart, Apple, excuse me, iHeart, Apple, Spotify, you name it, wherever you get your podcasts, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. So very excited that I'm gonna be having yet another great conversation with you all, my friends. So before we move forward, of course, we always have to acknowledge some of our proud supporters of the Arrington Gavin Show, like our friends over at Rugged Evolution Beard Care, baby. That's right. Rugged is the new smooth. Rugged Evolution Beard Care offers 17 scented beard balms, beard oils, conditioning shampoos, you name it. They have it. Everything you need to help enhance your facial hair care needs, skin care, facial hair care, whether you have a mustache, beard, goatee, Van Dyke. Look, they continue to thrive with amazing all natural products. I'm a user as well as I'm a creator as well as well. But you know what? I'm not just bragging about it because it's my company. I'm bragging it because it is just that damn good. I'm trying to tell y'all. We've been featured in Essence magazine. We've been acknowledged by other multiple publications. We've had great compliments received from public figures, and I tell you, we just continue to grow and grow. We're still under 10 years old, like going on 6 years, but we are a growing small business, minority-owned business, and we are continuing to just build with amazing products, my friends, and unisex products as well. We also have some soy-based candles, exfoliating soaps, body wash, facial cleansing washes. We're growing, man. We're global, baby. So be sure to, for more information, you can go to their website at www.ruggedevo.com for more information. Again, that's www.ruggedevo.com. You can also visit them online. Not online. You can also visit them on social media, on Instagram at Rugged Evo, as well as Facebook at Rugged Evolution Beard Care. So multiple ways you can chime in, you can tune in and read more and learn more about Rugged Evolution Beard Care. That's all I have for for that opener. Look, we're gonna head to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more on the Arrington Gavin Show. Of course, we're gonna start off with our fun fact of the day. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Arrington Gavin Show.
You know, just like a winning team evolves throughout the season, so does your beard. I'm Arrington Gavin, proud CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. With our premium oils, balms, and grooming tools, it's everything you need to level up your beard game. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a rookie, Rugged Evolution is the new smooth. Order now and dominate the beard game like never before. Rugged Evolution Beard Care, because every beard deserves to be legendary.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Arrington Gavin Show. I am your host, Arrington Gavin. Look, as we always like to do, like every show, start off with a quick fun fact of the day. Check this out. This fun fact comes all the way from Finland. Did you know that there's actually more saunas in Finland than it is cars? Interesting. So I take it a lot of people just like to sit in sweat boxes majority of the time. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever been in a sauna. I've only been in there a few times. There's a popular men's spa out here in my hometown. And before I usually do like a deep tissue sports massage, or what they call them, but deep tissue massages, they're always like saying, well, if you want to loosen up here, you can head into the sauna first, then cool off. Or sorry, yeah, you can head to the sauna first, then cool off in like there's like one part that's like it's not really like a sauna, it's like a cold, it's a sauna but it's a cold version. And then you can they ask you to do that before like a facial, and like I said, certain massages. It's interesting, it's interesting. And so I was in there for the first time when I went in the sauna, and I almost died in that thing. I'm like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I don't know how people can just, I don't know how people can just like mentally stay in for a long period. I could probably survive. I could probably do it's a lot easier doing it there. I don't know. I'm trying to think which one is harder, a cold plunge or a sauna. It's difficult. It's difficult because they're both extremely like, oh, it sucks because you either want to be in a tub full of ice, cold water, bags of ice cold water, or you rather be in a sauna that is literally so hot, stuff is melting in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult. But it says here that Finland has more saunas than cars. There are more saunas than cars in Finland. There are 2 million saunas in Finland, of a population of only, in a population of only 5 million. So it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Yeah. Look, you learn something new every day here on the show. That was our fun fact. Let's move it on with our what we have on tap for you guys. Let's see here. Let's move it on to, what do we want to start with first? I got to talk about this story that I read about. So, a family recently, and this is reported by Black Information Network, says here family shown wrong body in casket dressed in their father's suit. Oh my goodness. Lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit. Okay. So it says here, let me get my notes all checked, make sure I got dotting on my I's, crossing on my T's. I want to make sure I got everything set for you guys. So it says here that a family is seeking justice after a New Jersey funeral home allegedly dressed the wrong body in their deceased loved one's clothes and placed them in their casket. Man, you couldn't make the most boneheaded decision or call, however you want to, however you want to put it out, but it couldn't be the biggest mistake of your career. I don't know if the person was new or not, but that is a huge, huge mistake because there's already people that are grieving about their loved one. They're in a bad place right now, and they look at you to just, hey, look, you got to just send our loved one home with a proper, they always say, with a proper burial, making sure they look good, make sure they're dressed good, no issues. They want to make sure it's sharp, right? So it says here, according to Law and Crime, Boyd Funeral Home is facing a lawsuit filed recently alleging that workers put the wrong body in Addison Jenkins' clothes and claim he was in the casket during a family viewing after he died in February of 2023. So this is obviously it was a while ago, but I guess the lawsuit is just now getting, you know, getting publicized. The case stems from the obviously the February 11th, 2023 death of Jenkins, who's 81 years old, according to court documents. Jenkins' family arranged a viewing with Boyd Funeral Home on February 18th, followed by cremation. Court documents state that Jenkins' wife Dorothy brought his clothes and personal belongings to the funeral home days before the services. Uh, However, during the family's private viewing, loved ones became immediately uh, uh, distressed and angered when they saw another unrecognizable corpse dressed in Addison's clothes and belongings. The plaintiff were shocked, upset, confused, and full of tears. Now, according to more court documents, the family addressed the mix up with an employee who then showed them text messages from the funeral director who adamantly stated the body was in fact Addison Jenkins. So it's not the employee's fault. Funeral director. Court documents then went on to say that the makeup artist also told them the corpse was Addison. However, it just keeps getting worse and worse. However, the family pointed out differences in the bodies, including Addison's cauliflower ear and an infection on his feet that were present on the unidentified corpse. That weren't present on the identified corpse. So the lawsuit seeks an unspecific amount of damages for neglect, infliction of emotional distress, and mishandling of human remains. Let me tell you something, y'all. You really have, like, every time I've encountered or been, I've attended a funeral and things like that nature. What do we always say? Damn, I'm in the wrong business because funeral homes make buku of money. Because look, we're all we're all gonna kick the bucket eventually. So it's a business that you can't say will go out of business. I mean, whenever funeral homes go out of business, that's when you know, hey, we really screwed. You know what I mean? But I've never seen uh I've heard some weird stories. Like I've heard stories of people coming uh um waking up in there during their funerals. I've heard some crazy stories, but this by far is one of the craziest. How do you put the wrong body in the funeral director say, oh yeah, that's him. Oh yeah, that's him. Like that's just poor work ethic. Like you have to continue to check and make sure, and however their system goes, whether how they identify that is who it is, they all need to check or have some kind of form. I mean, that's just awful situation. Now, again, this is not just seeking damages because I've obviously going to pay a huge amount of money to the families, but this can really put a detriment to their career and possibly even lose their funeral license. Okay, so that means you got to spend a lot. You got to pay a lot of money in court fees and in a lawsuit because most likely you're gonna lose. And so you also have to worry about, oh man, how are we gonna stay in business? How are we gonna earn the public's trust on letting us take care of their loved one when during this time of grief? Like, I mean, come on. And I hope they weren't just so careless because, oh, this is an older man, so I mean, who cares? They really can't tell. Or I know when sometimes they have to, the bot it's very hard to have that person look spot on. Like everybody obviously can tell who the deceased person is, but their body changes, fluid and all this stuff, and then they have to you know uh, uh, uh fill them up, and I don't know the terminology, but you know what I'm trying to say is like they usually fix up the deceased individual like prior, before the funeral, make sure they dress good, makeup good, all this other stuff. And yeah, it's just again, I can't even say look on. I can't even try to defend the funeral home in this case. I really can't. Like this is ridiculous, ridiculous. They opened that casket and said, "Wait a minute, no cauliflower ear, no infection in the feet. Daddy, my husband." Like I mean, you already know what had to happen. You already know what had to happen. Uh, man. I'm trying to see what. And this is in Jersey. Lord have mercy. I gotta look up this funeral home because see, my family. I have a lot of my family on my mother's side are New Yorkers, and we actually have like a there's a cemetery that literally over 20 of my past relatives, cousins, great uncles, the whole you name it, is in this one cemetery, and it's in Jersey. And I'm trying to remember the funeral home that we use, and I'm like, when I looked at that name, I'm like, oh man, I hope that man, I gotta make some calls real quick. Like, I mean, it's insane. But look, let me digress from that. Let me digress from this story. Just wanted to start y'all off with some wildness. Some like, whoa, I don't believe it. Yes, believe it, believe it. All right, let's get it going, y'all. Talking about more on this upcoming election. I want to talk about the economy, but before I do that, I wanted to play a couple of sound bites for you because um, it's interesting hearing from public figure outside of politics that when they share their give you their take on the election and what do they think of Trump or Kamala Harris. So recently, San Antonio Spurs of the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich uh recently gave his 2 cents on what he thinks about Donald Trump. So let me play the soundbite for you, and then we'll get it going.
So he's pathetic. He's small. He's a whiner. We all know that. But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business? There's no way. But you're going to vote for him for president because he's strong? I mean, Kamala Harris whipped his ass in the debate, just obviously, and he's running ever since. He doesn't want any part of her because, as she said before, she's eaten many of his type for lunch as an attorney general, as a prosecutor. He's a small fry compared to some of the people she's gone after. And he knows it. So all he can do is cut people down, and do what he does. We've all seen all that kind of stuff. The ones that you can be even more angry about, because he's sick. He's a damaged man. He grew up the biggest wannabe there ever was in New York, right? We all know that. He wanted to be in the inner circle, but they laughed at him his whole life. It's like Obama made fun of him at that dinner, and he was about to melt. It angered him so bad, it was scary. But he was never accepted. He was treated like a fool, like a clown. And now he's able to just give the finger to the world because of his position now. And that's what he's doing. He's getting back at everybody because he's so small. He's got to go after everybody, just like we all know the generals and Mike Pence and all that. We've all heard that before. But those people around him, the Grahams, the Cruzes, the Hawleys, the Meadows, McCarthy, McConnell, all those guys, all older white men, it so happens to be, they know he's an ass. They say I think they think that. They've told us that ever since 2015, 16, all that kind of thing. I mean, they've called him a xenophobic, a religious bigot, a racist, unfit for office, on and on and on. Their words, but they're right there with him. Do they not know that they have children and grandchildren probably that are going to lose freedom if this guy is elected? I'm not talking about a policy. I'm talking about the idea of our country. So he's pathetic.
I mean, I just Pop, tell us how you really feel about this man. I mean, y'all who are listening right now, who are watching, look, you're tuning into the Arrington Gavin show. Thank you once again for chiming in with us. What Greg Popovich is saying is not false. All right. Like, it's not false. And I keep on telling people time and time again, it's not a Democratic or Republican thing. This is just a classic human being characteristic. Like, this, you're talking about, in my opinion, a first class a-hole having leading, being the leader of this country, representing us, being a representative of the United States to all countries. That's not what the United States represents. It does not. Now, Pop is going further back then in the old, in the country club days where, Trump wasn't accepted, this, that. I could care, it wouldn't surprise me, but I could care less about that. I'm talking about, currently right now. What I've seen, you can't tell me that 8 years ago, or not 8 years ago, but before Trump was involved in politics heavy, we had all this divisiveness happening. No, you had literally had Republicans and Democrats chopping it up, yada yada yada. There wasn't no losing friendship over different views. There wasn't, until their almighty savior came, and it was a whole different mindset. The funny thing is, they're talking about, oh, the world was a lot better when Trump was in office. Yes, it was so much more peace. Yes, it was so much more this and that and this. What world did you live in? Because if your world was only in a group of people of your own peers, right? Then yeah, to you it probably was dandy. But to reality, no, it wasn't. To the majority, it wasn't. We've always knew racism existed in the world, right? But I'm sorry, when Trump came out, oh, they were like, thank God I can finally come out the woodworks and really blatantly say what I want to say, what's on my mind. I can insult people. I can insult people in their face. I can insult people's intelligence and get away with it now. Yes, yes. Thank you. It is flat out just weird. It is flat out weird how much people have uh uh praised this individual. I saw a video not too long ago of people. It was a family having a MAGA themed wedding. Okay, they literally had like little mini floats in the church aisle with like the little ring barrels dressed as Trump, and it was so weird. It was so weird. It was so weird. It was so weird. It was the it in my mind. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, y'all only look at this man for entertainment. Y'all don't take this man serious, but yeah, you're gonna vote for him because he's entertaining. And you saying you care about democracy for literally voting for somebody just for pure entertainment, thinking that, what's funny, I was canvassing. I mentioned on the last show that I was canvassing, going door to door, knocking about the upcoming election with folks in my hometown. And the neighborhood was I'll say a very historic neighborhood, predominantly African American. But I would just say on a income level wise, on an income scale, I would say there wasn't really a lot of six figure income households. I'll just say that. Um y'all, I still saw a lot of Trump signs in those neighborhoods, and I'm just like, what message are you getting? Especially if you're only talking about economy, this economy that. You realize that he will tax the lower class, right? Y'all can't afford, y'all should not be paying the same amount of taxes, same in taxes, as someone that makes seven figures or high six figures. It's you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. In my opinion. And look, I make quite a bit. And trust me, I would love to get tax breaks. But people, that money, for one, money comes and goes. Economy fluctuates literally every quarter. All right. You will be fine. Now, for the less fortunate people that work paycheck to paycheck, it's really a struggle for them, especially when it comes to groceries. I mean, you can't stuff that you could probably buy from the grocery store with $200. You can't buy that now, and that is a big issue. I totally understand. When it comes to securing the border, yes, I totally understand. But not everybody crossing that border are criminals. Like, let's get that stigma for once. Not everybody that crosses over the border illegally are criminals. Now, what I would say, should people that cross the border follow the legal process on becoming a citizen? Absolutely. So that's where I totally agree with that. I don't agree with people coming in our states illegally, non-criminal or criminal. I don't think no one should cross the border illegally. I'm totally against that. And I guarantee you both sides of the aisle is also for that. But when you have one side saying that, describing them or depicting them as they're all criminals, they're all doing this, they're all doing that. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. Work on better terminology. I mean, it's point blank in my opinion. That's how it is. Work on better terminology and really explain what do you mean? Because don't say they're taking black jobs, Hispanic jobs. They're taking our jobs. Guess what, Donald? They're jobs that no one is choosing to work. There's so many businesses that, oh, I need help, I need this, I need that. People out here, they ain't trying to do that job. They're not trying to do that. Literally, there's so many things around our United States that's been built from immigrants. All right, like, let's be honest. Another soundbite before I get talking more about the economy. This was sportscaster, journalist. I rarely call them just like sports journalists and sportscasters, but journalists, specifically sports and sports journalist Stephen A. Smith. He was recently on the Sean Hannity show on Fox News, and it's funny because, see, I'm a huge Stephen A. Smith fan. A lot of people, say Stephen A. Smith gets on my nerves and that. No, he says what he says. He backs up what he says, and I enjoy it. He's an unfiltered guy. He's very opinionated, like myself, independent, like myself, successful. I'm successful-ish. I'm trying to get there. I don't have the status yet, like Stephen A. Smith. I don't got the funds like Stephen A. But I'm working on it. I am working on it. But Stephen A. is a very successful individual, and huge fan of him. And he was recently on Sean Hannity's show, which he's very publicly about the close friendship he has with Hannity, Mark Levin. Like, Stephen A. Smith is liked by a lot of folks. But let me play this soundbite because Stephen A. Smith, man, he went in on Sean, because Sean thought he could cross Stephen A. or try and at least side him with more on the conservative side. But like Stephen A. is also not a fan of Trump. So let me go ahead and play this soundbite for you, and we'll meet on the other side.
Number two, I know you're not talking about somebody being lucid and cogent and enunciating their thoughts with clarity, and you're bragging about Donald Trump. We can't be watching the same stuff if that's what you're doing. You ain't going to do that today.
You know
now,
what?
Lindsey Graham, hold it. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham is about to come on this show.
Let me tell you
now,
something.
that man can articulate himself very well.
Him.
Not Donald Trump now.
I have sat with him for hour after hour after hour, topic after topic after topic, and he is so dialed in.
Really?
Look, it's funny. People try. This is like the latest argument. And meanwhile, you're
number two. I know you're not talking about somebody being lucid.
So that right there was That right there was Stephen A. sharing, like, come on now, come on, y'all keep on talking about Kamala. What about your boy, huh? What about uh uh what about Donald Trump? What about Donald Trump? So again, Stephen A. backs what he preaches. Um, I love it. I love seeing it. I really do, because especially seeing a brother that is extremely intelligent. And I'm sorry, but to me, Fox News never provides a opportunity. They will. I'll say this: they'll have people. Uh, they'll have minorities on. Could use more, in my opinion. But they do provide they do provide opportunities for minorities, being contributors there, co-hosts. I mean, they have a gentleman, Lawrence Jones, who's a registered libertarian. He hosted his own show for quite some time, weekend show. Now he's a co-host on one of their most highest rated morning shows, Fox and Friends, the week morning ones. So they do provide opportunities, but they could do a little better. If it was me, they'll do a lot better. I mean, I think all outlets should really change up the whole premises. Like, I mean, have your right leaning, your mid leaning, your center leaning, your left leaning platforms, but just I want to see a little more diverse and hear from more minds. Like, I would love to see a liberal host their own show on Fox News. I would love to see a conservative host their own show on CNN or MSNBC. I would love to see stuff like that, but hey, that's nothing that we get here. What another soundbite before I start talking some more policy comparisons between the Harris and Trump administration. This is a soundbite that was from CNN. So let me go ahead and play this for you. And again, we'll meet after.
Vastly superior to Trump. Those are the words used by more than half of the living U.S. Nobel Prize winners for economics when talking about Vice President Kamala Harris's economic plan. While each of us has different views on the particulars of various economic policies, we believe that overall, Harris's economic agenda will improve our nation's health, investment, sustainability, resilience, employment opportunities, and fairness, and be vastly superior to the counterproductive economic agenda of Donald Trump. Now, the letter points specifically to Trump's tariff and tax policies that they call inflationary.
To me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff, and it's my favorite word.
But it also highlights one specific point of major concern. Among the most important determinants of economic success are the rule of law and economic and political certainty. And Trump threatens all of these. We're here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a critical swing state, talking to voters, and there's no question the economy is a top concern, not just here, but across the country. As of recent polling, 62% of Americans said the economy is bad. The number has actually gotten a little better for the Harris team over the course of the last several weeks. But when you look at the data, one thing is very clear. On the issue of the economy, Donald Trump has long held an advantage and continues to do so. According to one poll, 46-38 over Harris on the most critical issue, the election. Vastly superior to Trump.
So that was just some, again, more information discussing the whole economy factor. Now, here's some key differences between the two on, like, say, for example, tax policy. So one significant difference between the two candidates in an approach to tax policy. So Vice President Harris has indicated her desire to raise the top corporate tax rate to 28% from 21%, while former President Donald Trump wants to reduce it to 15% from its 20%. From its 21%. So as low as 15 from its 21%. On the individual side, now Harris plans to raise the income tax rate to 2018 levels for individuals earning more than $400,000. So that means lowering that again. If you make under that, you'll most likely not be paying a lot in or not be paying more in taxes. But if you make more than 400 grand, best be ready for an increase in your taxes, which could be accomplished by letting tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which has recently expired. On the other hand, Trump wants to permanently extend the tax rates established in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which would require legislative action. So again, two comparisons from one side wanting to raise taxes for someone who makes a certain amount of money and then lowering for someone who doesn't make. Now, here's the thing. You make a lot of people always say, "Oh, I just realized how much I had to pay my tax and it sucked." Like I remember my parents when I was younger, they were saying, "Oh my goodness, it was so much we had to pay in taxes." But at the end of the day, guess what? That means you're making a lot more money. Same for me. Like, yes, it sucks, but at the end of the day, like I make so much. That's why it's so good, y'all, to put money to the side, have different, savings accounts, rainy day funds, budget wise. Don't just think that your money's gonna permanently go everywhere, but like that's why it's so important to have those other funds to start, build up funds or invest in stocks, invest in real estate. It's just the smartest way to do so. Um, but me personally, I I could be a millionaire or billionaire. If they raise my taxes, guess what? I'm still a wealthy person. You know what I mean? Like we live in such a greedy society when it comes to just money and this, and I want more and more and more, and I want them to take what belongs to me. I don't want them to take what belongs to me. But yeah, so that's the comparison, y'all, that I wanted to share with you. Uh, uh, Again, heading into this, in this election season, um, more key issues. Again, economy is very, very top tier within this upcoming election as far as key issues. Other things are, obviously healthcare, border, uh, um, so many other issues that's on the chopping block in this upcoming election. Look, my friends, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more here on the Arrington Gavin Show.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. So mentioned earlier that comedian actor Tony Rock, man, is a bit frustrated with his older brother Chris Rock, the successful Rock. No, I'm joking. They're both successful. One just made a little more success. You know what I mean? So he recently was on a podcast called the Green Room Podcast, and he shared why he was pretty frustrated with his older brother for not putting him on movie film. So this is a article reported by Complex, titled "Tony Rock Complains About Not Being Casted in Brothers movies, because Chris Rock has been in quite a bit of films, successful ones that is too. Says here, old video resurfaced of Tony Rock accusing Chris Rock of never casting him in his movies, which is now making the internet. Tony, who is a comedian himself, spoke on his frustration on the Green Room podcast earlier in the year with comedian Ari Spears, asked him, after Ari Spears asked him why he was never in any of his brother's film. So this prompted Tony to give an explanation of Chris's choices, and he said, "I'm going to try to explain to you guys. I'm not saying it is going to make sense, but my brother, he's a businessman when it comes to movies," said Tony Rock. So Tony later explained a situation that crushed him when Chris cast him in the film Top 5, but never told him when the film was shooting. Later on, he stated getting called by others involved with the film asking why he was not on set. 2 months in, I'm getting an effing phone calls. They says, "Yo, you at the rap party?" He's like, "We here." And then he's like, "Oh, that is Crush Me. I have never seen the movie Top 5," he continued. We've all remembered that film, Top 5. Very, very good film. It says here that hearing this about Tony and Chris is surprising given how Tony took up for his brother after the Will Smith slapped him in at the Oscars in 2022. Now taking the stage for a set, Tony suggested that he'd whooped Smith's butt if he had the chance. I quote, "If you think you're gonna walk up on stage, this ain't the mother effing Oscars." And Tony on stage, and if you walk your ass up here, you ain't nominating for ish. But it's hard to do this, again, radio, y'all, radio. We gonna pop off. We gonna pop the rest of the year, and I won't continue that. But anyway, says here Tony then apologized for starting the show with that kind of energy, but he kept it. He kept it up anyway. "I didn't want to start the show like that, but you gotta hit my mother effing brother because you." It's a lot explicit in there. But anyways, y'all, to me, how do you, all right, it says here that he was casted in the film Top 5, which I will say Chris Rock had done a lot of films way before Top 5, so that's still something to talk about though. But he put him in the movie Top 5, but he never told him when the film was shooting. I can't imagine you not continuing to follow up with your brother. And I hope Tony did do that, like continue to follow up with, because even if, I mean, let's be honest, if you don't hear from your brother, you're like, "Where's he doing, Mom? Where's Chris at? What is he doing?" "Oh, he's filming. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, I can't imagine him telling you and then you did not follow up. Now, you didn't get in touch with your brother's peoples, his publicist. Like, I can't imagine that. And then 2 months later, like a whole freaking 60 days, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's something we got to talk about. But like I said, Chris Rock has done films way longer than Top 5. Before the film Top 5. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a work ethic kind of thing, and that's why that was probably an example of like Chris saying, "See, I give him a film and see how he F it up. That's why I don't be giving him no parts, man. He make me look bad. He the Rock name, and I support the Rock name in show business and that and the other. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just spitfiring out here. But Tony Rock is an extremely talented dude, man. Funny guy. he will always be like, hey, Chris Rock's brother, but he's also a comedian in a talented one at his own right. I know he hosted, I think like Comic View, and I think he hosted even when they revived Def Comedy Jam, if I'm not mistaken. So he's had quite a bit of success of his own. I do think that it helps in his act to tell, to always discuss the fact that, hey, look, Chris Rock is my brother. Bringing up the Will Smith thing, it probably gave him a lot of added more interviews and publicity to his resume. Just because I was watching, I got to witness Damon Wayans Sr. and Damon Wayans Jr. separately on stage. Damon Wayans Sr., he did his jokes, blase. Rarely talks about the whole family and being a Wayans and all this stuff. Now his son did a lot of great jokes, but he also incorporated like impersonating his dad or talked about his uncle Marlon, this and that and the other. Same with Marlon Wayne. Like they all still will pull in the family into their acts, into their content on stage, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is a good question that I like to ask you all. Like, say if you had the stardom power, if you had that A-list quality like Chris Rock, and you knew you literally have a brother that's also in show, would you put him in a lot of films or majority of your films? Because I don't see why Tony wasn't in a lot of his films. You know what I mean? Like, look at Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler puts on a lot of familiar faces in his films, and they're not even family. But blood family. But it's probably his family. In the industry, family, friends. They started in comedy, like Rob Schneider, David Spade, Kevin James, Chris Rock. Those cats are usually always in the same show. Same with like a Cedric the Entertainer. Most likely you're gonna see DL or Steve Harvey, or I know Dave Chappelle will put on a lot of DC comics, Earthquake, Donnell Rollins, what's another DC cat, oh Jesus, somebody, Red Grant, and so many others. So I'm big on networking. I'm big on building great relationships with people and finding ways how we can collab with things, right? How we can all win. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of person I am. So if Tony was my brother, I would always be like, hey, look, I got this film. Let me try and find a part from. Seriously. That's what you do. Generate, legacy wealth, generational wealth. If I'm winning, best believe my inner circle, we're winning too. Kevin Hart with his folks, right? Again, Steve Harvey with his group. Everybody's winning. I'm sorry, everybody's winning, because it's not always about you, man. Stop being selfish. People have to realize, y'all, you win in numbers. I hope all people that have beer care lines succeed. Okay, I hope everybody that has a radio show or podcast succeeds. I don't want to have all the fame just to myself. No, I hope to work with some of these people. I interview people that also have podcasts and radio shows. You know what I mean? You win in numbers, people. Stop being greedy. Stop being like it's a team of me. We need to stop being each other's enemies, and again, learning how to come together. That's why another reason, and I go back to politics, is why I'm so passionate about the choice that I've chose for this upcoming election. Because there's one side that is me, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And the other side will say, under this administration, this is what we accomplished. This is what we accomplished. This is what we accomplished. Y'all hear the difference? Hello, is anybody in there? You hear you're hearing the difference, what I'm saying? I, and we. Who do you vote for in this upcoming election? The person that's always a team of me, myself, and I, or the team of we? Because there's a shirt that I have says, United we win. United we win. Got me out here preaching, y'all. I ain't shoot. Let me go ahead and move it on. How am I looking with time? Let's see here. Let me go ahead and move it on to let's go ahead and move it on to sports. Let's see here. So, Bronny James, LeBron James' oldest son, who is currently living his dream in the NBA. Not gonna lie, he is not that good, but he's a James, so he is gonna be a work in progress. Um, really, I mean the whole him getting as much playing time as he has been getting, in his rookie season. I mean, it helps that your dad is literally the franchise, the league franchise. Like he runs the NBA right now. But it says here that Bronny is expected to travel, obviously with the Lakers, and then he's going to be doing back and forth with the active roster of the Lakers as well as the G League team of the Lakers, South Bay's G League affiliate, which is very good because Bronny's just 20. Again, his stats is really not popping like that. He needs to continue to grow and build up that what's the word I'm looking for? He needs to work on his game, right? He needs to get his confidence up. He needs to get more, better with his skills and all that other stuff. Just because he's LeBron James doesn't mean he's going to be the next LeBron James. Because obviously, if you look at his stats, he's nowhere near his father. Even when his father was when it was during his rookie season, like his is a huge comparison, different size difference as well, position differences. So, and I mean, kudos to James, man. I was watching one game, he scored like 32 points, and this man is in year 22, 22nd season in the NBA. It's insane. But his son barely can score 3 points. Says here that LeBron James' son, Bronny James, is expected to travel on the team's upcoming trip and is expected to travel with the team, and they're going to be shuttling between the active roster and the franchise affiliate team. Now, the Lakers recently defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in the season opener, making history, obviously, for LeBron James and his son being the first ever father-son duo to play in an NBA game together. It's never been done in the NBA. It's the only sport I know besides basketball is the Griffies in Major Leagues. Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. were both on the same exact team. It says here that JJ Redick said our plans are always fluid based on real time. It says, I believe we have two guys dressing today that as of yesterday were not dressing out. The plan for Bronny to move between the Lakers and South Bay has always been the plan since day one. That's what general manager Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick have talked about since then. And this is by the way, this is JJ Redick's first. Excuse me, got an itch in my throat. This is JJ Redick's rookie season of coaching the Lakers and really being a head NBA coach, because JJ Redick, I think, played like 17 years in the NBA. Very successful basketball player, by the way, but no coaching experience. He was an analyst for quite a long time with ESPN, and then from there he got offered a coach position, and he took it. Which, hey, let's be honest, even there's the losingest coaches. Some of the coaches that get fired like after one season, they're some of the highest paid coaches in the NBA because they get that payout money. They can literally like chillax and just keep on accepting that check. Which, look, let me apply for a coaching position. Let me be the worst coach in NBA history. But guess what? I'll be a wealthy man, baby. I'll be a wealthy man. Yes. So yeah. I think that's best for Bronny James. Again, career getting a little rocky in my opinion. I think the whole reason to bring him on was to just, hey, make that huge hoopla, promote, history being made. Oh, awesome, and now get your ass over in the G League. Like, that's literally what they're doing. So, I mean, I wasn't really asked like, "Oh, this is awesome. We just witnessed history." Like, it was a lot of hype. I wasn't like so, you know, indulged in it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Can you believe this? The first ever, father son duo. Oh my gosh, this is cool." Like, I wasn't like, nah, that stuff wasn't my cup of tea. I could care less. It was what I'm trying to say. My friends, look, we're coming on a close with time, but as I mentioned, excuse me, as I mentioned on the last episode, crunch time. It is crunch time with this upcoming election. Recently, Trump had a huge, um, no pun intended, huge interview with Joe Rogan, who, in my opinion, is a podcast legend because he really agree with him or disagree with him. He changed the cusp of podcasting, and so he had Donald Trump on his show. Last time I checked, man, like in the first 22 hours, they already had like 22 million views off of that interview for a 3 hour conversation. By the way, it was big for Rogan, which it was funny because I know they had to compensate Rogan a lot, and I guess Rogan business wise saw how good of an opportunity it will be because for the longest Rogan was like, I have no intentions of interviewing Trump, which again, I'm like, yeah, right, Joe. You bring on anybody and everybody on your show because he's want to talk, which hey, I respect, agree. I don't have to, agree with you or like you, but as long as you don't make any, you know, hate speech towards an individual or a specific group, look, you're more than welcome. Sit down and have a conversation. The next big conversation. Now, I don't know if it's going to raise as many viewership numbers. I hope it does, but Kamala Harris will be sitting down very soon with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay. So let's see how that plays out. But my friends, look, that is my time. Continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show again weeknights. Available on all digital and streaming platforms, YouTube, Rumble, as well as on podcasts. You can also tune into the program Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. on WDJY 99.1 FM, Straight Talk, or also online at WDJYFM.com. Y'all stay easy, stay blessed out there, and I will see you next time.